With a lot of buzz going into the 2024 season for the Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray has come out and said Drew Petzing, offensive coordinator for the Arizona Cardinals, is a genius. And this is one of his best off seasons he had in a very long time. Today, we're going to be diving into the most recent interview that Kyler Murray had with the local radio station here, 98.7 Arizona Sports. Let's get started. What's going on, everybody? Welcome back into another video. Definitely do me a huge favor, smack the like button on this video and subscribe for more Arizona Cardinals content. On this channel, we cover everything Arizona Cardinals news, breaking news, conversational pieces, everything surrounding your favorite team. So subscribe it up. It's absolutely for free. Alright, everybody, let's go and dive right into it. Let's talk about the most recent interview with the local radio station 98.7 Arizona Sports and franchise quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals, Kyler Murray. Now, if you didn't take the time to go ahead and listen to this interview in full, I highly recommend you do so. Go ahead and check them out here on Arizona Sports YouTube page. And honestly, I want to give a huge shout out to them. They've been doing wonders with all these interviews, and obviously with this dead time right now between June and July, heading into the 2024 season, they did a fantastic job with giving us content and really kind of getting us the inside view of what's happening in OTA. So definitely huge shout out to them. But I want to go ahead and get into this interview because I feel like there's a lot of nuggets and a lot of definitely things to talk about within this interview alone. And this is kind of foreign because you don't really see Kyler Murray jump on interviews from radio stations and stuff like that. So definitely a really good interview from Arizona Sports 98.7. So let's get started here. Let's go and talk about just culture in general, right? We've been talking about, verbatim when we talked about, rookie minicamp, as well as these sprinkling content here from the OTAs that we've been talking about here, that Kyler Murray has mentioned the fact that culture is a big thing that has changed within this Cardinals organization. Now, it's really funny because I remember 2-3 years ago, I brought this word out talking about culture, and everybody's like, what is this, right? What are you talking about? Well, what do you mean by culture? And now we're kind of using the Arizona Cardinals in 2024 as something where culture is defining this new regime, this new organization, right? The new path and the way that the Arizona Cardinals are going now. So I'm really loving the fact that people are now starting to realize that culture is an absolute huge thing within an organization, because it's not just within a football team, right? You have to have good culture in a workplace. You have to have good culture in a classroom. You have to have good culture within a family on its own. So overall, I think it's a really huge step here with Monty Ossenfort and Jonathan Gannon really taking the lead here. And you can tell that Kyler Murray truly respects what they are doing, right? Every move that they make, right? And although the media is micromanaging every move that they make, but the people within the organization, the players, personnel, everybody in the front office are truly bought into the idea that everything they do is for the right of the organization. This is gonna go ahead and segue me into continue to talk about culture, but he also mentioned the fact that everybody within the locker room knows the path that they're going, right? And he is completely 100% bought into the way of Jonathan Gannon and Monty Ossenfort, and they're pretty much like a moving train. If you do not jump on the train, right? If you're not a part of this culture, if you're not falling in line, then you could potentially be moved off of, right? We've seen Monty Ossenfort do it already with Isaiah Simmons trading him away. We saw DeAndre Hopkins coming out and flat out got released by the Arizona Cardinals. So we've seen things like that happen already with Monty Ossenfort, and I think the culture is being dispersed amongst the locker room. And now everybody's starting to see that, hey, they really mean business, right? Where we're not gonna goof around, and although it can be fun to have fun in workplace, when it comes down to Jonathan Gannon, he's all business and all football, and I think for the most part the core truly believes that, and I absolutely love this new culture shift. So now let's go and move over topics and talk about Drew Petzing, offensive coordinator here of the Arizona Cardinals. We have Kyler Murray coming out and saying flat out that he feels like Drew Petzing is a genius, right? And he also mentioned the fact that because we are doing different things within him playing under center, it is a good thing for this Arizona Cardinal offense because we're not predictable, right? And it's so funny because all these things that I'm hearing now are things that I've been preaching 2 or 3 years ago, right? In the third year of Cliff Kingsbury, in the fourth year of Cliff Kingsbury, that now it is starting to come to light, because at the end of the day, if you're playing primarily shotgun 99.9% of the time, you are going to be very predictable. And with Drew Petzing, doing shotgun, right? 12 personnel, under center, all these different packages that Drew Petzing is bringing out, on Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays, it definitely gives the offense a better better advantage. Now, we're not going to come out here and say that Drew Petzing's offense is going to be unstoppable. Well, maybe with adding Marvin Harrison Jr. it will be. But what I truly feel like Kyler Murray is saying when he's calling him a genius is that when he comes on Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays and getting ready for the game, he is truly trying to dissect what that defense is doing on the other side and trying to, you know, pinpoint their weaknesses, right? And trying to exploit those weaknesses as well. So when it comes down to Drew Petzing being able to kind of do it all, I absolutely love it, right? We've heard the mantra that we are going to be a kind of a physical team, maybe a run-heavy team when it comes down to the Arizona Cardinals in 2024, and I'm for it. I'm absolutely for it. Kyler Murray has also mentioned the fact that because he's not going to always have to play a Superman role, it's going to be for the best benefit for him as well as for the Arizona Cardinal offense, right? Because we do have players that can shine like James Conner, right? We do have players that can shine like a Michael Wilson, Trey McBride, Marvin Harrison Jr. if he is going to come out to exactly how fans are going to predict him to come out to, right? Like the next best wide receiver out there. But what he's saying is that it's not going to be put all on 100% on Kyler Murray's shoulders. And I do feel like with Cliff Kingsbury's regime or the last regime is the fact that they truly saw Kyler Murray and said, you are such a special talent. Make it work, right? This is going to be the playbook. Make it work. You've been playing this playbook since, you know, high school. Make it work. And honestly, when it comes down to it, you do have a player that's going to be fatigued. You're going to have a player that gets hurt. You're going to have a player that is not going to always have the best mindset when it comes down to this offense. And although they are leaning on him heavily, and it's not a bad thing, I think it might have been just too much for Kyler Murray to say, hey, you know, I do need help. So now this new regime knows that, and it's not going to be fully on Kyler Murray, and I absolutely love that, right? Now, he also did mention the fact that he is a guy that leads by example. Kyler Murray's been talked about verbatim in terms of not being the leader, right? The perfect leader when it comes down to Kyler Murray. We've seen him sulk in the corner in the early days. We've seen him yell at his head coach in the early days. Now, we are seeing a different type of Kyler Murray this year, and sprinkled into a little bit of last year in terms of the little bit that we've seen Kyler Murray has automatically completely improved when it comes down to his maturity level. So I'm absolutely really excited to see what he's going to be doing in year 1 to year 2 of the Jonathan Gannon led regime. And I do believe that him as a lead by example type of guy is not a bad thing, right? You don't always have to be a rah-rah type of guy, right? You could be a guy that is an absolute baller and everybody sees your work ethic and sees the way that you do things and wants to emulate that, right? And especially because the age that he is currently right now, he's 26, and he actually came out and says it is weird that he feels like the older guy in the locker room, right? Because when he came into the league, into the NFL, he was in his early 20s, right? What, 21, 22? And he had to go ahead and lead 34-year-old, 28-year-olds, 35-year-olds, right? And it is kind of a different mindset coming in because you got to think about it, right? When you're a quarterback, you are the leader of the locker room. And if some of these guys, you know, in the locker room, your 35-year-olds, 31-year-olds, they're probably looking at you as a kid, right? They're probably going to always kind of, you know, smirk and say things like, oh, he doesn't know what he's talking about, right? So the culture change that Kyler Murray is now going to be the guy that you need to look at, and he's doing exactly what he needs to do, right? There was also an interview here from Michael Wilson coming out and saying that he comes in, he's the first one to get there in OTAs, and he's the first one to leave, right? So that's kind of the example that he's trying to put out there, right? Lead by example, and I absolutely do love it. You don't need to be rah-rah or exactly who you need to be, Kyler Murray, and honestly, this maturity level jump, I love it. Now, let's move on over to the last topic here. Now, he did mention the fact that obviously with the hype around the Valley and hype around the Arizona Cardinals, that it all has to most likely do with obviously Kyler Murray being healthy from the start of the 2024 season. And not only that, we got Marvin Harrison Jr., arguably one of the best prospects in the 2024 NFL draft. If you are in that position, you got to go after that top 5 talent, right? And that's exactly what the Arizona Cardinals did. He came out and said it was a no-brainer, right? It was an absolute no-brainer. And we all seen the reaction of Kyler Murray, right? Being really, really excited that the Cardinals ended up drafting Marvin Harrison Jr. And the Cardinals, I do feel like, can be a much better team from 2023 to 2024 because we do have a fully healthy Kyler Murray. We do got a weapon like Marvin Harrison Jr. We got Michael Wilson heading into his second year. We've seen a crazy career jump here from Trey McBride from his rookie year to now the level he's currently playing. We all know that Greg Dortch is the dog. He's finally getting an opportunity, and we know that James Conner can be a top 5 running back in the league if he can stay healthy. So this offense is trending to be a very very sneaky good offense for the Arizona Cardinals, and he's actually came out and said Marvin Harrison Jr. is as advertised, right? He does expect him to be a guy that he was in college and translate to the NFL. He does want to make sure that their chemistry is 100% down, but he's actually saying that Marvin Harrison Jr. looks really good in OTAs, and he's just really excited to kind of, lace him up here on Sundays, Mondays, and Thursdays here in the 2024 season. So overall, I'm just really excited about this season here for the Arizona Cardinals. I feel like you guys should be too. It's definitely a breath of fresh air to hear Kyler Murray come out here in the airwaves and really kind of getting us an insight in how he feels about the 2024 Arizona Cardinals. Now, although he said a lot of the things that I've been talking about for multiple years, it's really cool to kind of hear Kyler Murray, the franchise quarterback of the Arizona Cardinals, come out and actually say the same things that I've been preaching for quite some time. So let me know, everybody here in the chat, what your guys' thoughts here about Kyler Murray's interview with local radio station Arizona Sports. Let me know here in the chat, what are your thoughts on what the Cardinals can do in 2024. Appreciate y'all for tuning in as always. Have a great rest of your day, and go Cards.